Welcome to Hot Take, the adaptation was better. Put down pitchforks, you're going to learn something today. Like I said, my name is Laura Mihaffey. I am the founder and head librarian of the Carolina Manga Library. And what that means is that I have the best job on the planet. I run a comic book library for children and teens and anybody else that wants them. And I travel around the United States and I set up a 5,000 book library. I love my job. We are a nonprofit, so everything I do is completely volunteer work. I don't get paid a dime to do this. I love all of you. So, every once in a while, it happens where you read a book and you really liked it. And then you watch some kind of adaptation of it, a movie, a TV show, a graphic novel version, and you realize that somehow, the adaptation was more enjoyable in a certain way. Okay? So that's what this panel is. I've got a bunch of suggestions, a bunch of examples for you on how the adaptation of a graphic novel did something better than the original. I'm not going to say that it was actually better than the original. Am I? I don't think I am. We'll get there.
3 a.m. you made it, baby.
I may have put one in here. I'm going on about 3 hours of sleep. It's awesome. Don't ever go drinking with librarians. Don't ever go drinking with librarians, okay? We know cocktails that you would never possibly think of.
So you're saying it's an amazing time.
Our bartender was very amused. Basically, I slipped him $300 and said, just mix whatever I tell you to. And he said, okay. All right, so I'm just going to go through and I'm going to give you some suggestions. And then I want to hear from you guys. I want to know if there was an adaptation that you liked better and why. There really are no rules, except I'm trying to make this just graphic novel versions of things, graphic novels that we're using as source material. Just because there's always going to be a movie that was better than the book. I mean, even Princess Bride, don't throw anything at me. Don't do it. Even Stardust, which I loved. I loved the book and I loved the movie. But if you gave me if you set the DVD and the book in front of me, I will pick the DVD up every single stinking time. Okay? So that's kind of what this panel is. All right, we ready?
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. We're going to start off with Scott Pilgrim. Yay, Scott Pilgrim. If you have not read the Scott Pilgrim original comics, they're phenomenal. They're actually very entertaining. And the movie is a fairly decent adaptation of all 7 books in an hour-and-a-half long film. They cut out a lot. A lot. There's a lot. So much they cut out. I actually wrote a thesis once on why they cut things out of this movie. But the reason that I will go watch the Scott Pilgrim movie over reading the books again any day of the week is that in the books, excuse my language, it's Sunday, Scott's an asshole. Okay, the main character is a complete and utter jackass and he never gets better. 7 books of character development and he never learns anything. Okay, he's a jerk on page 1 and he's a jerk on page 775. Trust me. When they did the adaptation, since they had to condense everything and gave him no character development because there's too many characters and too many things going on, they had to give him at least decent personality. And Michael Cera did a very good job coming across as the naive idiot who runs the story and also somebody I'd actually never actually consider dating, but at least I wouldn't run screaming. The book Scott I would run screaming from after I need him in the crotch. Okay? I really would, and I'd probably come back and hit him again, and then run, and then possibly come back one more time. That's how bad he is in the books, okay? He really is. It's almost like the author made this character just to hate him. But in the film, they twisted that around and made it more interesting and made him a better human. So that's one of the reasons I think, hot take, the Scott Pilgrim movie is better than the book.
She's got words to say about this one.
I hate slice of life. I hate it. I hate the entire genre, okay? It's the same 5 stupid girls doing the same 5 stupid activities in the same stupid club room with one gimmick, okay? It's the same thing. K-On! Was not bad, though. The 4-Koma comedy manga was not bad in any way, shape, or form. But the problem is, it's a story about a band. You can't hear music through books yet. Unless you've got really good audiobook versions. But obviously, any adaptation of a music-based series or anything based on any kind of audio is going to be better in its adaptation no matter what. Okay? And this one, also, not only, of course, you had the music, and of course, the music slaps, because of course it does. They actually gave them a little more character development. It's a little more serious than funny. The manga series is 100% comedy, and the anime is a little more character drama, growing pains, discovering yourself, typical high school shoujo shmush. But, again, I would watch the adaptation. I literally watch this like once a year. It's that good. I've read K-On! Once. But I have watched K-On! At least once a year for the last 5 years running, possibly twice a year. So, as you're reading through your masses of piles of to-be-read piles, think about your adaptations. Think about when you're sitting there reading something, you're like, God, I really wish I knew what this person sounded like. I don't know about you guys, my husband, who is a librarian as well, because of course he is, he has this game where every time we're reading something together, because we read a lot, because we're librarians, we'll do fan castings. Like if we were going to watch a movie of this, who would this person be? Of course, Ewan McGregor's in like everything, because of course he is. My baby. I'm so angry he's going to be at a convention I'm not going to. He's on my bucket list. Anybody have a hug bucket list of people that you want to hug in your life? He's like number 2 on mine. I got my number 1. I hugged Stan Lee. I actually had I had lunch with him. I was in a McDonald's at a convention in Florida many years ago, and I'm sitting there, and these stormtroopers walk in, and they're surrounding this little old dude, and they're kind of trying to shuffle people away from the chairs and everything. And the old man puts his hand on one of the boys' shoulders, and says, "She's not sitting with anybody. I'm just gonna go sit with her." And he just plops his ass next to me. And I'm like, okay, I can share a table with you. Hi. Would you like a French fry? That's my Stan Lee story. And that was before the days of cell phones. So I didn't even have a selfie, and I'm mad about it. I was very upset. I didn't wear sparkly dresses back then either. I was just a plebe. Not that y'all are plebes. All right, so sorry, tiny. It's Sunday. I like stories on Sundays. This is why this panel is much more free-form than Friday's, recommendations panel. All right. Any sports manga. Any of them. I'm sorry. They're really good. I loved Haikyuu. I read Haikyuu in 3 days. All of it in 3 days. Okay? It was that good. And then I watched the whole stinking anime. Any sports manga, anything that's based on action, is absolutely going to be better in its adaptation, because you can at least see them moving and see the sports happening, okay? Now, I will absolutely admit the anime version of this has way too much filler. I mean, the manga has a lot of filler too, but oh my God, there's so much filler in this. It reminds me of Yowamushi Pedal. If you haven't watched that, it's the one about biking. I got to the point where I was watching that anime, and every time they got to do the backstory of one of the antagonist characters, I literally skipped the episode. And I was like, listen to me. This bike ride has been going on. This 3-mile bike ride has been going on for 17 episodes. Okay? We're still going, and we've only gone half a mile. Please stop. So, like I said, it's not always better. Actually, yeah, it is. I'm sorry. The adaptation of sports manga is almost always better. Actually, no. I can think of one that's not. It's not traditional sports manga. The original manga of Food Wars is 300 times better than the anime.
Yes.
Okay?
I thought the anime was unwatchable, actually.
The anime is almost unwatchable, but the major problem with the anime was that they cut out half of the cooking. And it's like, what are you doing? I'm here for I'm here to learn, dang it. I want to know what a quenelle is. I want to know how to sear a steak. Because they do that in the manga. They actually go through every single step. Anyway, getting back to sports manga. Sorry. I told you it's just Mountain Dew. This is what Mountain Dew does to a librarian. All right. This one's a little more particular. School Live. If you have not seen this is going to turn into a halfway recommendation panel. I know. People who have watched this or read this like, oh my God, I love this. Okay, so I'm going to tell you the first episode super fast, the first chapter in the first episode. Pink-haired little idiot loves going to high school. Absolutely loves going to school, loves everything about school, loves it so much that she joined a club called the School Living Club. They live at the school, they eat in the teacher's lounge, they sleep in the gymnasium, they have a garden upstairs, okay? Everything is great. Little pink-haired girl sitting in class one day after school has ended, and she's talking to her friends, and one of the club members comes to the door, and she says, hey, sweetie, it's time for lunch, time for dinner. And little pink-haired idiot says, okay, and looks at her friends, like, I have to go to dinner now, bye. And the girl at the door is like, honey, who are you talking to? And the next page / scene shows the classroom. The only thing that's not destroyed is her little desk. Everything is covered in blood. All the windows are shattered. She's living through the zombie apocalypse, and she has no idea because she's out of her mind in denial. She is traumatized. That is chapter freaking 1. Okay? The manga series goes on for 11 books, and they just put out a sequel. There's a sequel volume, letters. Of course I had it over there. Anyway, this is a slice of life zombie series, believe it or not. But the anime, they got a 13 episode anime, and what they did something really, 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 really smart. They took the original idea of the story, and they took some of the events in the beginning of the story, and they mixed up the events to create an original story while staying within the confines of the story. So they didn't change it. It's not a Full Metal Alchemist situation where they did like the first half and then took a hard left into what? What they did was they end up at the same place at the end of the story. They end up at the same conclusion as in the manga, but they got to it in a different way with a different emotional payoff. And that is the kind of stuff that I live for, okay? I got you in 1 second, let me finish my thought. They add in a couple of extra scenes, something a little extra traumatizing happens to the dog because we have to go John Wick on something. They do something a little different with the main emotional character that's not really seen. It's a different twist on the story that was so good in the original, and they made something even better with the adaptation. This was actually this is the series that made me want to write this panel. That and Scott Pilgrim, because I was having a conversation with my husband about how I want to kill him. Kill Scott Pilgrim, not my husband. I like my husband. He keeps sending me cat pictures because I'm homesick. All right, you had a thought or a question?
Yeah, so the adaptation is better, but it almost seems like it's better in a way that's responding to the original.
Exactly.
So my question is, should I read the original first and then watch the adaptation?
It does not matter. It is one of the rare ones. It does not matter which one you do first, because they're fundamentally, they have the same emotional payoff, they have the same events, they're just mixed around a little bit. And then of course the manga keeps going. Both of the stories, the manga, the first part of the manga and the anime, non-spoilery here, end when they decide to leave the school. So that's where the anime stops. And it's a perfect ending. It's wonderful. The manga keeps going, and they actually experience more of the zombie apocalypse, and it's, they're dealing with other people they find and the human nature and all that good stuff. It's just so stinking good, it's not even funny. Okay? Seriously. School life is so good, it makes me angry. It's so good. So, the anime is streaming on Crunchyroll still. That's where I watched it originally. And of course, the manga you can buy anywhere. It's fantastic, wonderful adaptation. So I get a preview of the next slide, and I'm sitting here staring at it. I'm like, I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about it. 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 This is one of the ones that makes me mad. Okay? The Revolutionary Girl Utena series, which is, of course, infamous in the anime history, web guides and everything like that. I'm such an old taku that when the anime for the Revolutionary Girl Utena anime came out, I spent $75 at a convention to buy a VHS fan sub of the last 2 episodes because they wouldn't dub them in English. That's how old taku I am. Okay? All right. If you have not seen, very few people actually read the manga for this, or read the original manga. But if you have not seen Revolutionary Girl Utena, there's a reason this is not in my recommendations panel, because it's hard to sum up properly. Okay.
I mean, I can try. The cycle of abuse takes off his shirt and does a backflip over his car.
Yes. But then you get into the fact that he's also an immortal prince in love with his sister. And he's trying to revolutionize the world by causing a sword duel contest to possess his sister because she has the power to revolutionize the world, but we have no idea what that means. And it doesn't ever get explained, and no, the manga doesn't explain it either. Trust me. I have no idea how to explain this stupid series. But the big difference, when you read the manga is almost based in reality. All of the what the effery of the Revolutionary Girl Utena anime was a complete invention of the director. Okay? Completely invented for the adaptation. Okay? Chapter 1 of the manga starts off with Utena in her regular school, and she's talking about how this dude, she fell off like a cliff when she was a little girl, and this dude caught her, like by the arm, and put her back on top of the cliff, and gave her a ring and said, live your best life, and she wanted to be just like him. The anime makes it where he saved her from a burning building, and it was a church, and she was hiding in a coffin, and he was actually a prince on a white horse, and there was fireworks. Yeah, this is, oh boy. For God's sake, don't watch the movie without alcohol. For God's sake, because she turns into a car. That's not a euphemism. She literally goes into a car wash thing and gets naked and gets turned into a vehicle that the love interest then climbs into and drives off into the sunset.
What?
No, that's not the Mountain Dew talking. Okay?
I will maintain that actually makes sense because whatever the fuck was going on with Toga a half hour earlier.
Yeah, good point. Okay. Actually, that made sense. He was a ghost. It was awesome. Anyway, okay. So, the reason the adaptation of this is better because it goes completely off the rails. It takes the general idea of the manga, which was girl gets impressed by guy, cross dresses, gets into a duelist contest, and saves a princess. That's the entire manga. That's it. I could actually explain that. I watch this once a year. I do. I have watched this series at least 100 times, and I still can't explain it, and that's what makes it amazing. Okay? It's also very 90s. Okay? It's the kind of 90s where the animation, they really like their eyes. So whenever hair goes over the eyes, you still see the eyes through the hair. It's one of those, okay? Try them both. Good luck finding the manga because it is horrendously out of print. But you can still watch the anime in several places. I don't know where's streaming it right now. Probably Crunchyroll.
Yes, but also the distributor has it on YouTube.
That too. There you go. See? Clever person back there. I like that person. You're smarter than me today. Well done. If you're having one of those nights where you have no idea what you want to watch, and you're just like, I'm just going to throw a dart. Don't even bother with the dart. Just turn this on. It's 4 stinking seasons long.
They don't probably get every genre you thought about watching.
Yeah. All right. I'm going to hit next. If any of you throws anything at me, I'm going to walk my sparkly butt out of here. And I won't keep talking. That's actually the next one's the really bad one. So, yeah. All right. I adore Cardcaptor Sakura. I love everything about it. I love all the books. I love all the animation. I love all of the movies. I love all the costumes. I love freaking everything, okay? Everything about Cardcaptor Sakura is nearly perfect. However, the anime did something unprecedented. The manga has more filler than the anime. I know. Unheard of. The manga is fantastic. All the filler is wonderful. I love all the stories. In the manga, she frees 11 cards out of the, I think 50. That she says there's 50, but she only catches 11 of them. The anime, I think they catch more than 30, I think. They'll do entire episodes just about one card. And those episodes are some of the best ones, okay? The darn flower one where they're at the sports day and they're chasing the flower and it's just a happy little dancing flower. My favorite episode of all time. Okay? It's not in the manga. It's kind of in the manga. It's mentioned. It's a little brief vignette in the manga. But
Mirror card is best card.
Of course it is. All the cards are best cards, I'm sorry. So, yeah, but Cardcaptor Sakura was one of the quintessential ones where there's a ton of filler in the anime, there's a ton of filler in the manga, but the ones in the anime are better. Don't get me wrong, Clamp is, I mean, they can do almost no wrong. I did read Tsubasa. Don't get me wrong, I love me some Tsubasa, but holy crap. Yes. I mean, I've read every single thing Clamp has ever put out. I mean, every single stinking thing, and I still got lost in Tsubasa. I still had to go look up, like, who the hell, what book are we in? What book are we visiting now? Yes, dear.
I know this is still slightly off topic, but with
That's okay.
I did notice with that Triple X Holic that the official translations made a lot more sense than the fan translations. I think a lot of that was a translation issue.
I agree.
Because and the official translation also like had that part in the back of the manga where it kept track of everything.
I agree, completely. But the fact that you need a glossary to read a comic book is bad. Okay? I mean, I get it for Tolkien, I get it for Shakespeare, I don't get it for Cardcaptor Sakura and for Triple X Holic and Tsubasa. I don't get it for, if I have to have a glossary to read your book, to read your graphic novel, honey, you're doing something wrong. Okay? You just are. All right. I'm going to hit next. And then I'm going to hide under the table. Because you're probably going to throw something at me. See? All right. Don't get me wrong. The manga is great. Okay? I read it literally in one day. I read 8 books in one day. Okay? But the problem with the manga that the anime has done so much better is the personalities. Okay? It is infinitely more enjoyable to watch Anya skip around with her weird ass little face in the anime than it is in the manga. They're almost too stoic in the manga. They almost are too much of a blank slate so you can imprint on whichever character you want. In the anime, because they're brought to life through the voices, they are better, more entertaining characters. The plots are almost identical, okay? Watching the anime is almost like reading the manga and seeing it move, okay? But it's the voice acting of this that brings it to life, okay? I found myself getting bored reading the manga after about book 5, okay? It's like, this is, okay, so we're gonna do this wacky hijink and nothing's gonna change. Then we're gonna do this wacky hijink and nothing's gonna change. We're gonna do this wacky hijink and nothing's gonna change. Anime is the same way. It's just the plot of the story and that's fine. But I will watch Lloyd just prance around and be just like the stoic, wonderful thing that he is in the anime and be just smiling the whole time. Every time he pulls out a gun, I'm happy. Okay? Every time the dog barks, I'm happy. Okay? I'm not that happy when I'm reading the manga. Don't get me, like I said, I loved it. I know why it's so popular. I've already pre-ordered the next 6 books, trust me. I've got all of them, but dang, they did something right with this adaptation, y'all. They did something so right. They hit upon that little bitty thing that's just like, okay, no, I want to watch that. I don't want to read it, I want to watch it. I actually don't want to read any more of the manga. I know, right? I don't want to read a single another book. I don't want to read another chapter. But I will watch a whole nother season of it. And happy the whole time. Oh my God.
Wrong, but like.
I'm not wrong, but yeah. Okay. If you haven't seen Elfen Lied, I don't care how you pronounce it, it's still weird.
Don't watch it.
Oh, no, absolutely watch it. Absolutely watch it. The adaptation was better.
Yeah.
The anime is amazing. This is one of the best horror anime I have ever seen in my life. Okay? And it's just like Revolutionary Girl Utena. I'm going to try to explain this to you. I'm going to try real hard. I'm going to be wrong. And again, this is one of the ones I've watched like 100 times. All right. There's a race of mutant people who have invisible extra arms that can reach into your skull and, flick your brain in half. And the queen bee of them is named Lucy, and she's badass. She breaks out of a mental institution where they're studying her, and she loses her memory, and she ends up being adopted by this really stupid guy who wants to sleep with his cousin. Yeah. And then she gets her memory back, and she's trying to kill all humanity, and then she's not got her memory back, and she's all sweet and cute, and then the big bad government tries to come and take her because they're trying to make more of her, and it's just... Hijinks ensue. All right. Yeah. Yes. It's a weird, stupid series. But the manga, which the anime adapts about half of the manga. It's 4 gigantic freaking books. Okay, big freaking books. 5 big freaking books. 5? 4? 5. 4. Okay, 4. We'll go with 4. If I'm wrong, blame him. Then, I beg your pardon. All right, so the reason the adaptation is better is that the books are obsessed with sex. I mean, the books are filthy. I mean, okay, most of you have seen, or at least seen something of Food Wars, where they have the whole foodgasm thing. Yeah. That's at least funny. Okay, it's humorous idea. This is borderline hentai. Okay? This is like every disgusting fetish you've ever think of. This author really wanted to put in the series for some reason. Okay? They have a character that's not even in the anime. They literally wrote her out of the anime. She's just there to sing and sound pretty, and she wears a diaper for some reason because she keeps pissing herself when she sings. And that's supposed to be funny. He wants to get with his cousin so badly that they have a huge makeout session, and she gets excited and she ruins her panties. This happens like 4 times in the stupid series.
He also masturbates on his flag.
I wasn't going to talk about that. I was trying not to talk about that. It's Sunday. Okay? I'm trying to behave myself here. The hot... I don't know why this series... Okay, I know why it exists. Because it's also one of the best sci-fi things I've read in years. Okay? It's not strictly sci-fi. That's why I didn't put it in my sci-fi panel on Friday. I'm sorry. It deals with really cool gene splicing and humanity's downward spiral into perfection, and it's a fabulous... It's a fascinating read. I loved reading it. I just wanted to burn half the book. I wanted to take all of the gross and all of the stupid and rip out the pages and throw it away and just read about the story. And that's what the anime does. And that's why it's better. So, don't read this. Please don't read it. Of course I own it. It's in the manga library. You can follow my sparkly butt back over there and I'll hand it to you, and you can damage yourself for an hour. It'll be great. And I'll happily watch you from the other side of the room as your face crumbles. Okay? I'll love every minute of it. Do yourself a favor and go watch the anime instead. Okay, just go watch the anime, please. Oh my God. Oh, okay, good. I got time. All right. Believe it or not, that's the end of my panel. Of my part. Well, no, don't worry. Don't worry. Don't clap yet. I'm not done yet. I'm going to do a trick. We're going to have some audience participation. Put your hand out. I didn't talk yet. You don't even know what I want yet. Jeez. All right. Here's what I want. I want to know what adaptation you enjoyed better. Summed up, put your hand down. Summed up in 3 sentences or less. Okay? Here's the parameters. It has to have originally been a graphic novel of some kind. You cannot talk about Princess Tutu. Princess Tutu was an anime first, and then they adapted it into a really weird-ass manga. It took out all the joy, and she's not a duck, and I'm angry about it. She's not a duck in the manga. It's like, what are you doing? What are you doing? There's also not a cat ballet teacher, and I'm mad about it. Ugh. Anyway, so I want to know what your favorite adaptations are of graphic novels. Okay? This is not turning into a Harry Potter fest. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. Are we good? All right. I will get to as many of it as I can. So put your hands up, and then I'll get to you. Yes, of course I'm going to go with you first because you've been putting your hand up for the last 5 minutes. God, what do you want?
Should I go up there or should I talk loud?
Just talk loudly. It's Sunday.
Yeah, that works. I think the Attack on Titan anime is better than the manga.
3 sentences why? Besides the fact that you can actually tell the characters apart.
It doesn't really lose anything because they are very similar.
Mm-hmm.
Aside from just they move in the anime, there are some little added things. For example, there's a scene where
You're on 2 sentences.
they're in the Babylon's Frost, and Eren has to remember that he's actually trying to do a thing that he has forgotten he has to do because Titans are
Right.
a difficult thing.
Right?
And his delusion in the manga just kind of goes away. In the anime, it burns away in the background, and I was like, hell yeah!
You're right. They did tighten it up a lot when they made the adaptation. That made me very happy because reading the manga is like a slog. It's like, oh my god, I'm still reading. Why am I still reading this? It's like watching One Piece. Why is it still happening? Don't get me wrong, I love One Piece. Okay, I stopped after episode like 150. It's like it was the original Sailor Moon. 200 freaking episodes. It didn't need to be 200 freaking episodes. Okay, it really didn't. Oh, I could talk about. No, I'm not talking about that adaptation. That's a whole other panel. All right, hands up high where I can see this. I actually skip somebody. I'm gonna go this whole side and that whole side. Okay. All right. Purple.
Just say what you were thinking. Okay.
One
I was
sentence.
thinking of 3, but I'll just go with 1. Natsume Eugene show.
Okay.
The anime, I find better than the manga. I think they're both slice of life, and it keeps things somewhat accurate. But it just flows better in the anime. That's the way to put it, I think.
I like that. What adaptation was better to you?
All right, so since we're in Chicago, I'm going to have to say the Gunsmith Cats anime was a better adaptation of the manga, although technically Burst came later. But it's really, really wonderful as someone who's lived in Chicago for their childhood and being able to figure out where exactly a car chase leads the characters through and just like realize the exact period of time it's at. Also, I love Keiichi Sonoda, but there's a lot of real questionable shit he's into that is a very big part of Gunsmith Cats in manga and later Gunsmith Cats Burst. And
I'm gonna get you an old Taku button. Maybe Weeaboomer.
I mean, I've been around for a while. Also, I'm using all 3 of my sentences here.
Yes, you are.
May in the anime has none of the things that would get you look side-eye. That would get you to side-eye in
Yep.
the manga.
They cut out all the weird stuff around her
Oh,
character.
yeah.
It's much better. Thank you for sharing.
No problem.
Next person. Just hand it to the next person. Real quick, while we're switching microphones, if you're not following the Carolina Manga Library on some sort of social media, I'm on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We're doing a Kickstarter right now for enamel pins. What made me think of it is that I'm literally making old Taku and Weeaboomer pins. There's also cats on books. Just selfish plug. Go ahead, dear.
Okay, I have 2, but I'll make it real quick. After
Okay.
the Rain.
Oh,
So it's done by Wit Studio. It's beautifully done.
I hate that manga.
Yeah, the manga.
I hate that manga.
To the anime, it's beautifully done. It
Okay.
also gives you like a look inside, like what regular Japanese life looks like. Love it. Also, I have a live adaptation, Mr. Nietzsche in the convenience store.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, hilarious. They have comedians and they do like improv and stuff, and it is no comparison to the manga because it is just so funny, and the improv in it is laugh out loud hilarious.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's a live adaptation, and it's got like some famous comedians in it from Japan. You can find that on YouTube if anybody's interested. Mr. Nietzsche in the convenience store. Okay, that's it.
Excellent adaptation. Thank you. Hello.
I'm going to have to go with the obvious choice of Soul Eater because the manga's ending was dog shit. The manga's ending was not dog shit, so there's that.
See, I'm not brave enough to do that. I'm not brave enough to say that out loud into a microphone. You're very brave. Thank you for sharing. Oh, God. Whew, that's a hot take. All right, love.
All you need is kill. are Kill, Die, Repeat with Tom Cruise.
Mm-hmm. Wait, what?
Live, Die, Repeat with
Oh my God, that's right. I forgot that was a comic book.
the movie who's known as Live, Die, Repeat, but whose name is I don't even know. Better than All You Need Is Kill.
You're right. It was a better. They tightened up the storyline. They made it a little easier to understand. And I don't mind watching Tom Cruise run around. He's older than dirt, but I don't mind watching him run around. His ass still looks nice.
That's all it does.
All right.
Okay, so back on the sports anime.
Woot.
Prince of Tennis, I actually saw
Oh, God.
as an anime first, and then as a manga. As a manga, it's unreadable, to be honest.
It never ends.
It's really long. It never ends. Every game is at least 3 books.
Yep.
The anime is still too long on the tennis, so actually my favorite adaptation of it is the live-action Chinese Prince of Tennis. I don't know if you know that they do them. They do take Chinese studios take
Yep.
mangas and animes and make live-action versions, and it's actually excellent. And all of the tennis matches are actual tennis match like.
I love it.
So you see a real sport.
I love it. Thank you for sharing.
All right, first of all, don't hate this. Arc Rida from Commonplace to World's Strongest. It was actually the 3rd isekai I actually knew that was an isekai. I watched the anime first, and then I started to read the manga. Big mistake. They spent several chapters in the volcano. I had no idea what was going on. They finished the whole thing in 1 episode.
Yeah. They did tighten it up a lot in that one, didn't they?
Oh, they extremely did. Plus, I also love watching people get murdered by a Gatling gun.
Always fun.
Always
fun. This is cathartic. You know, Gatling guns.
Alright, so mine is Ghost in the Shell. Either the movie or the series is better than manga.
You're about to get hands, good straight.
My eye's twitching. You can't see it.
They're all very similar stories. They're all very slightly different, and they're very different. The series and the movie just have 4 compelling stories to me. I don't know why.
That's okay.
To some extent, manga characterization feels a little bit weird.
You're entitled to your opinion, even if it's wrong. Thank you for sharing. Hello again.
Hello again. I thought of a second one.
Oh, okay.
My friend was talking about like the Chinese live action adaptations of manga and anime, and they actually did a Hikaru no Go live action.
Oh, they did. That's right. It was really good
I
too.
think that was better. They tightened it up a little bit, and they added a lot more backstory to a lot of the characters that was necessary, and interactions with his family too. That just kind of.
Sai is not a ghost.
Apparently, they had some censorship issues. So they had to reiterate that Sai was not a ghost. But they don't. They kind of explain what he is, but it doesn't really make sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
Him a star.
Yeah.
But it was
Yeah.
still good.
I liked it. Thank you for sharing. Hello.
Full Metal Alchemist, both of them. The manga is great, but the emotional gut punches of certain scenes just you need the music, you need the vocalization of Edward. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
you're
just
right.
so much better.
You're just
And
gonna cry like a 5-year-old. I hate that scene. I hate that scene. Have you guys seen the Breath of the Wild, the Tears of the Kingdom meme yet? Where it says, "Oh, I've got so many good new fusing powers. I can't wait to try them out." And it's Link standing in front of Nina and the damn dog, and I'm just like, I hate you. I'm gonna go find that person just so I can hit them. Ugh. All right, your turn, love.
No, talking about Mr. Little Alchemist saying that a point can be made from Made in Abyss too.
Ooh.
I mean, the books are amazing, but
Yes.
the anime also does things a little bit better that you can't find in the books.
It's so pretty.
Yes.
It's so pretty. The world of Made in Abyss and the animation is like, oh my god, I can touch things.
Yes. But
Oh, it's so pretty.
my pick for
Yes.
what the anime did better, I actually really like Princess Jellyfish, the anime
Ooh.
better, just because the jokes are, the nuances are missed in the books a little bit. You
They
have to
are.
go back and check them a few times just to make sure you're understanding what you're reading.
Mhm.
But when it's spoken, you can pick that up a little bit better. I wish they had a second season because the other half that they don't touch in the anime is equally just as amazing. They're both good, but I think the anime just did it just a tiny bit better.
I am literally going to add that to this panel. You are brilliant. I'm going to type it up right now, actually. Huh. They does. Thank you for sharing.
Okay, one adaptation that's better than the original manga is Bocchi the Rock. And not just because it's a music anime that, does music better, but also just because during a lot of the scenes where she's having her freakouts, it does very interesting visual things to kind of help you bring yourself into her mindset and kind of help you freak out along with her.
Okay. I actually have one that I'm going to add. Oh, did you have one more, Ben? Nah, don't give me the microphone. I'm going to talk for the next 15 minutes. Come on. Because I just thought of one that I didn't put in this, and I really should have. And I'm going to go off.
Actually, I have a quick question. Can we use something that started as a light novel instead of a manga?
No.
Damn.
Graphic novel.
Oh, okay. So I'm actually gonna have to think a little bit. I got it. Okay, so since I couldn't do my original one, I do want to disagree with you a bit on a point. I do believe...
It's not a healthy thing to do, dear.
I'm not a healthy individual. Bring it on. But I'm actually going to say that due to Ikuhara's vision, I prefer the Sailor Moon anime a bit over the manga. Now,
The 90s or the new one?
Oh, not Crystal Meth. I
hadn't heard that yet. Oh my god, I should have thought of that pun myself. Oh.
You're welcome.
Okay, all right.
I'm over 3 sentences.
Go ahead. All right, why is the Sailor Moon anime better?
Okay, so the filler. Okay, so I do believe the filler gives more time and space for the characters to breathe, especially the inners. Takeuchi just runs through people, like literally kills off most of the monsters of the week and the Shiteno types. Just like boom, 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 body, boom, boom, boom.
Yep.
Also, the visuals, I really enjoy the visual style, the gags more. It feels like a proto slice of life or that kind of Azumanga Daioh manga in anime form.
All right. I don't disagree with you.
Awesome.
All right, so I did think of... Nope. Haha. Stay. I did think of one more that I'm actually going to add to this. Sandman. That's a hot take. Don't get me wrong. Neil Gaiman is a god, okay? Neil Gaiman's Sandman is a masterpiece. Absolute masterpiece. How many children in here? No? It's also fucked up, y'all. Okay? If you've ever actually read Sandman, it is fucked up. I don't know what kind of trauma he was working through when he wrote it, but it's uncomfortable to read. Honestly, okay? Like, it'll be great for like 6 pages, and then he'll go into some kind of serial killer's brain, and I want to know who hurt him, okay? And the way he portrays the human condition and the way people think, it's a very, honestly, difficult read. And then Netflix came along, and they made the adaptation, and I've watched it 8 times. 8 stinking times, okay? And the thing that they did perfectly, that made me so happy was, in the books, Dream is very human. He's a little more human than I want him to be. He's too relatable. He's too flawed. In the adaptation, the actor that they chose and the lighting that they chose and the costuming that they chose makes me think he's actually an eternal ethereal being, okay? He terrifies me in the first episode because he doesn't talk for 43 minutes. I timed it once. His first line is actual opening his mouth. That's not just dialogue, over dialogue. The first time he opens his mouth is 43 minutes in, and he's just staring at the stinking camera. And I super believe the hell out of him. And they did such a good job of it. So there's another one. I need to flesh that out because obviously I did not prep that recommendation. Like I prepped the rest of these. Okay, we have about 10 minutes. Does anybody have a last minute suggestion? Yes, dearest.
Well, in that same vein with Neil Gaiman, Good Omens.
Oh God, Good Omens is so good.
Because I read the book, and it's Neil Gaiman, so I want to love like every second of it.
Right.
But there were times where, okay, the pacing's a little slow, whatever.
Right.
The adaptation, especially the episode where it's just the angel and the demons, like, I could watch an entire show just that.
Exactly. And I didn't use that as an example though because it's a prose novel. Oh. You cheated. Out.
This is true.
No.
This is true.
All right, so since you have sat here for, oh my God, long enough, and I started late, I'm gonna play you a couple of funny videos to kind of to kind of exit myself out. Does anybody have any questions about anything we talked about, anything about the manga library? It is open today until 3, so you still have time to follow my sparkly butt back across the Hyatt. If you haven't been there yet, it's in the Hyatt. You walk in the main doors from the street, walk straight past the escalators, past the gigantic statue of poop, and turn left. Okay? The manga library is right there to the left of the giant statue of poop. Okay? We're open till 3. You can come in and read anything you want. If you don't know what you want to read, ask me. I am a master of recommendations. I shocked a couple people yesterday. It was fun. If you are interested in the manga library, we have our own website, carolinamangalibrary.com. Carolina like the state, because that's where all my volunteers are from. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Kickstarter, and we have a Patreon. If we get up to 50 patrons, I'm going to plug myself here. If we get to 50 patrons, I will start a manga recommendation podcast where it will basically be my Friday panel once a week. Thank y'all so much for coming. I hope you enjoy the rest of your convention. Have a good time.